Mm, 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 mm.
Some events are great when experienced once, but sometimes you've got to do it again. Avery Entertainment presents the return of the You Name It Tour. Pastor Shirley Caesar headlines this dynamic encore. Saturday, November 12th at the Sumter County Civic Center. Also featuring
I'm from a poor family.
the Canton Spirituals,
We didn't have much,
those Mississippi boys are coming,
but the Lord been good to me.
Doc McKenzie and the
I
Highlights,
wanna live so God can use me anywhere.
the Gospel Legend, and Roy and the Revelation, the return of the You Name It Tour. Saturday, November 12th at the Sumter County Civic Center. Doors open at 2, program begins 3:45. Platinum, VIP, and advanced tickets available. Get them at Eventbrite, Imports Limited in Sumter, Al's Musica, and Undisputed Barbershop. For info, call 803-846-9872.
Okay, everybody, hello, and thank you so very much for joining us on this beautiful Monday. This is the day that the Lord has made, and guess what? We're going to rejoice and be glad in it. We have a very, very good program on tonight, a very outstanding guest, a very popular guest, a young man who is representing the Lower Richland area, Eastover area, and so much more. But I wanted to bring him on because he's a young man. And as a young man, he's doing a lot of positive things. And you know as well as I do, when you turn on the TV, you see so many negative things about our young African American men. So I wanted to bring him on. I want to introduce him to you, and I want everybody to welcome him. Those of you who are always on my live, we want to say welcome to you. And once we get started, as always, when you see us do this and put your comment up here, that is our way of saying good evening to you, because once we start in the interview, we will not interrupt him. So without further ado, let me introduce to you State Representative Jermaine Johnson. How are you?
Good evening. I'm doing well. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. And I thank you so very much for coming on. I try to do things positive on my show, and to have you on here, how young are you?
So guess what? I just had a birthday on last Monday. Just had a birthday. So I just turned 37 years old. So I'm an old man
37
now. I'm
years
old
old.
now.
Yeah, before we get started, we want you to tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you went to school, college, what are you doing now, How do you get into politics? What can we look forward to? These are all the questions I'm going to ask you. And I say to you, this speaks volumes of who you are to agree to come online with me tonight. Because you know as well as I do, you can call some and they will not answer. They
I know
will
a
not
whole bunch of them like
respond.
that. Yes, ma'am.
But we want to thank you so very much for agreeing to come on and interview with me tonight. So the show is yours. It belongs to you. When you see me stick up my finger like this, that means I got a question for you, or either I need to read a response that the audience, and if you see it before I do, feel free to answer their questions. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you so much for having me on here this evening. You know, this is one of the things that I like to do. I like to inspire young people to let them know that they can be me and surpass me. You know, I was born in California, but I've been in South Carolina for 20 years now. This is my home. I believe that this is what made me to be a man. This is what grew me up into being a man. Majority of my upbringing was homelessness. I lived in motels. I slept on people's couches. I lost a brother to gang violence. He was murdered by his best friend. Parents and everybody was addicted to drugs and that whole thing that was going on. So I've seen a lot. I've experienced a lot in my life. I've gone through a lot, and that has helped shape me to being the individual I am today. So a lot of people they don't have things that can help them to get out of their situation, their environment. And basketball is what saved my life. I tell people I got good at basketball on accident. I wasn't supposed to be good at basketball, but I used to play basketball to escape my environment. So I would go to the parks and I would play basketball and just shoot around. And over a summertime, I got really, really good at playing basketball. So I had an AAU basketball coach that said, Jermaine, we need to get you out of your environment. So he ended up sending me to a prep school up in the Northeast area to play basketball. And this is where I kind of saw things outside of my environment, where I noticed that things were different, that I was not supposed to be homeless, that the things that I was going through were not the norm. And that's where I kind of, where things just kind of began to show themselves to me. So I played basketball. I never wanted to go back to my environment. I got a scholarship to go play basketball at the College of Charleston. And I went down to College of Charleston and I never left. I never left when I got there. And the thing is, it was interesting because that time when I was at Charleston, I didn't have nowhere else to go because I was still homeless. People were still living in motels and things, so I didn't have all the major holidays I was sleeping in the dorm. I was on Christmas morning I was in the dorm room. On Thanksgiving I was in the dorm room. All these different places I was in the dorm, unless I had a friend that would invite me over, during these holidays. So I went there, but I met my beautiful wife down there. Yes, ma'am.
Well, let me ask you this, because I did not know that. Can you tell us, because this is one of my passions in the community is working with the homeless. Tell us how some people treated you when you was homeless.
Oh my God. Like you're not worth anything. Like you're not a real person. But but I was always so embarrassed because I went to 7 different high schools, coming up. And when I haven't stayed in the Motel 6 because I used to live in one, back when I was growing up, so when people find out that you're going through those things, a lot of them, they treat you like you're not even a real person. But then you got some people that have these big, huge hearts. So I had a high school teacher at one of the high schools I was going to. When she found out that I was going through all of that, she began to, she was mean to me at first, but once she found out my situation, she began to have a softened heart. So she came to school one day with a bunch of bags of like hotel soap that she had accumulated, hotel soap and different toiletries and things like that to give to me because she knew the situation I was going through. And it was like, you tell this kid to come to school and have his homework, but you have no idea that this kid's going home looking for his next meal, or this kid doesn't have a home to go to, and he's trying to figure out where he's sleeping tonight or what what he's doing. So she was so much more helping for me after she found out my situation that I was going through. And the friends that I had made, they also became more helpful when they discovered, like, man, this is the way this young guy's living. I'm 15 years old, 14, 15 years old, and I'm sleeping in a motel room somewhere. So they treat you bad, man. They treat you bad, but some people are just so loving that it overshadows the negativity.
Wow, you see, this young lady says she's in that situation now, and she said people treat you like a virus or a disease when you don't have anything but God.
Yeah. I mean, it's been, and I was living in the, in those bad neighborhoods. It was, it was like the with the gangs and the poverty and all that, where you walk outside and you're getting, I'm a big black guy. I've always been a big dark skinned, guy. So where I'm getting, messed with by the police all the time, and searched, and you fit the description and you look suspicious, that whole thing, and all of that stuff. So I was involved with a lot of negativity with the other young guys with the bad stuff, and it's a miracle, and it's only God's blessing on how I made it out of those situations that I had been in. When I was 17 years old, I actually got I got jumped by some gang members, and they pulled the gun out of me and put the gun to my face. If you can look at the side of my face, I have a scar on my cheek that happened that happened from getting hit from that 9mm. And I've been through some things. But this is why I do what I do. This is why I speak to these young people the way that I speak to them. If you've ever heard me speak, you know why. You can understand why I speak the way that I speak to these young people, because I've been through it. The thing that these young people say to you nowadays is, you don't know what I've been through. You don't know what I'm going through. You don't understand. You'll never know and I get to sit, look at them in the face and say, well, yes, I do. Because those things you've been through, you lost a friend or a brother or a sibling to gang violence and drug or whatever. I did too. Your parents were on drugs. Mine were too. Jail, me too. My people too. So I get to speak from experience rather than just sitting up on some pedestal and talking down to our young people. I get to say, hey, listen, I've been through it too, but look at me as a path forward. I made it out. I can show you the way to make it out.
Wow, this is a powerful testimony. And I mean, it is so powerful. So tell us, when you got to college, and how did things change for you? How did things turn around?
Yeah, so I met my beautiful wife up there at College of Charleston, and when I met her, some things, we kind of saw that we were from two different type of backgrounds. A lot of things that even still to this day, things that I tell her about, the stories and things that I've experienced, she can't even fathom that they were actual like things that happen to people, that can actually happen to somebody. So we talk about these things, but we got together, and it was not perfect in the beginning. We're actually going to be celebrating our 10-year wedding anniversary in a few weeks, being married. So some of these things, it was a rocky start because I was dealing with, and you don't have to just go to the military to have PTSD. I had PTSD from the guns and the gangs and the all that type of stuff. I had PTSD. And I didn't know how to deal with some things. And when my bank account would get to a certain amount of money, I literally would get anxious, and my heart would start pounding. I start sweating. I get nervous because I say, man, I'm never going back to being homeless again. I'll never do that again. Like, I'm never going back to that type of situation. So I get nervous. So we actually had to do. We went to marriage counseling with my pastor, and my pastor is the one who helped me out with everything. To learn how to deal and cope with some of these things, but I also went to counseling myself to deal with some of the trauma that I've been dealing with in my life, and when my pastor, I guess he really took a liking to me, and we had his connection, Pastor Sammy Wade down here at St. John's.
Yes.
Listen,
Great
Sammy
man.
Sammy Wade is a huge part of who I am today, and I love my pastor. I'll tell you that. So we connected, and he told me, he said, Jermaine, listen, I really want to take you around. So I met up with him one day, and this is when I was going through things. I had played professional basketball at that time. I had got drafted to the NBA D-League. I played in Brazil, Canada, Portugal, and Mexico playing professional basketball. And I was still lost. I didn't know who I was or what I was going to do. And my pastor took me around, and he was showing me some businesses, showing me Jabari's business, showing me those different things. And then we got out the car, and he said, Jermaine, you could do anything you want to do, man. He said, you have so much potential. You could be who you want. You could do anything. And at that exact moment, I got this idea. It's like a light bulb had went off in my head. And I said, I'm going to start a nonprofit organization to make sure nobody ever has to go through the things that I went through growing up. And I created a nonprofit organization called New Economic Beginnings Foundation, where I work with young people, I work with military vets, and I work with people who have been to prison who are coming home, helping them to get job skills and life skills, through my nonprofit organization. Because during that time while I was playing professional basketball, I was still going to school online. So I went and got my master's degree and my doctorate degree while I was playing professional basketball, because I knew basketball was going to come to an end one day. And I didn't want to ever have to be homeless again. So I wanted to set myself up for success as much as possible.
Man, I didn't know all this about you. I had no earthly idea that you have went through all that you have accomplished all that. I had no earthly idea. And yes, Pastor Sammy Wade is a great man of God, and he do a lot down there in that area, and he do a lot without recognition.
Yeah.
And so we salute him on that. Let me tell you what, I heard of you, but I did not know you until you came to Unity in the community. And let me tell you what touched you. And now this, I'm just going to be real. I was at the point where I ain't want to vote no more. I was at the point where I didn't care. I said, they ask you to help them, you help them. They won't return your phone calls. Not all of them. Not all of them. Now, I got to say that. Not all of them. But you call and you ask for help. They won't help you unless you got a name. You understand what I'm saying? Unless you got a title. So when you came to Unity in the community, I watch you. I sit in my chair. You didn't come. Here's what touched my heart. You didn't come and make your speech because election day was that Tuesday. You came and you mix and mingle with the people, and you stayed to the end. And what really did it is when you got out there with Flossie Johnson. That did it for me, because those are things you don't see from politicians. You just don't see it. We know that there's that, and this is no shade to nobody. There's some really good ones, but when you can get out there and mix and mingle like you did, that speak volume. So I said, okay, Loretta, you got to revive yourself in the way that you think, because I was just disappointed. I'm just being honest with you. You see people in need and you call these offices, and all of them got secretaries, and you can't get no call back. But that's what stuck out to you. I think everybody out there, even people that wasn't in your district, was telling people to vote for Jermaine Johnson, Dr. Jermaine, because you reached the people that day. There was a lot of young people out there, and people got on social media and talked to you. But I do want you, because you are going places. When you get there, don't forget those. Y'all excuse me, my sinuses bother me. Don't forget those who help you along the way.
Amen. Yes, ma'am. One of the things that most politicians, they tell you that thing that they say, "Oh, I'm not a politician." Well, I truly believe that I'm not a politician. I'm not a politician. Politics was never my thing. I never knew anything about politics. But I went. A young guy had from down this way had talked to me about how he was stopped 3 times in 3 days by police officers that illegally searched, and they let him go. And I asked him, I said, "Man, well, did you report these police officers?" I said, "Did you report them?" He said, "No, we don't do that, because if we do that, then we have a target on our back." And he said, "This is just how things go in my community." I said, "Well, that's not right." And coincidentally, we were having a police and community forum down here at the Wellness Center. And I went in there and I spoke to the police officers, because they were saying, "Oh, we don't have this problem in our community. We don't have this problem." And I said, "Are you serious? You really don't think you have this problem?" They said, "No, we don't have this problem." I said, "Well, you're lying to yourself, because I just talked to this young man who told me all this stuff and told me about how you guys are acting and what these things are." And I kind of went on to let them know about themselves. So at the end of that, at the end of my speech, I got a standing ovation. I was like in my early 20s and I got a standing ovation. And as I was leaving, somebody tapped me on my shoulder when I was walking out the door. And I turned around, and the gentleman said, "Jermaine, listen, you are exactly the type of young leader that we need in this community." He said, "You are the future, and we need you around here. We need you to step up." And that individual was Representative Joe Neal. The very first politician I ever met was Representative Joe Neal. And he said, "Jermaine, you are exact." At that moment, he became my mentor, and he is the one who talked to me about politics. He's the one who taught me about what it was. He's the one who had me on the Richland County Recreation Commission. And when that happened, I got involved with the Democratic Party, and I became part of the Young Democrats, and I got involved with everything with the support of Representative Joe Neal, who's passed away. So, it was him who really invested and poured into me. And when I got to running for office for my position, when I talked to my predecessor, I asked him about this stuff, and he said he did not believe in succession planning. And I'm thinking about, like, how do you not believe in succession planning? You know, when you're 85 years old, you don't believe in the next generation. And that was my thing. I said, well, what does this 85-year-old man have in common with my 7-year-old black daughter? And I was thinking to myself, I said, he has nothing in common with my 7-year-old black daughter. So what I was saying, I said, man, and I believe in succession plan. I believe in raising up the next generation, but also supporting my seniors. You know, and I said, man, we have to, we have to thank the people who paved the way, but we also have to reach back and give these young people an opportunity and a hand up to get to where I'm going, to get to where I'm at. So that is what had me going in there. And I beat a 22-year incumbent. I'm the youngest to ever hold my position in this district. I'm the first black to hold this seat down here. And, I've got a lot done that nobody thought I'd ever be able to get done. I don't plan on stopping now, but it's with the support of people like yourself that keep me moving forward. They keep me doing what I'm doing.
Well, you have my support. I don't live in that area, but I know people who do. And I got on that phone that day when I went home, and I told people that live down there, I said, you got to get him in. You got to get him in. I'm hitting all kind of buttons right now, but I said, you got to get him in because he's a good young man. And this is what we need. But I want to add, everybody that's just coming on, we're talking to State Representative Dr. Jermaine Johnson. But what I want to ask you, where do you think we have gone wrong with this gun violence thing? Now, I'm going to tell you what I think. It starts in your home. You can't expect, now, not all of it. Some parents did the very best that they can. But it wasn't like when we were coming up. When we did something wrong, we got chastised. We got whippings, is what they call it.
I got a whole bunch of
the children now. So what do you think? What do you think has gone wrong? And what do you think we can do? One of the things that I do not like, Dr. Johnson, is we react when something happens. When somebody get murdered, we react. But there's nothing a little being done when the cameras are not on them. Mm-hmm. When something happens, you see all these people in front of the cameras. But what are you doing? Can you do anything without having the TV cameras in front of you?
Yeah, you're 100% correct. So it starts at home. It starts at home. But it not only starts at home, it starts in your community. Mm-hmm. And we don't have enough people taking responsibility for the people the young people who are in their community. And even the individuals who had good intentions of taking responsibility of the people in their community, now the parents are getting mad when you chastise their kid. And they're saying, don't talk to my son like that, or don't talk to my daughter like that. So it's become a place where we no longer even know our neighbors. We come and go from our homes, or don't even know who's living next door to us. And it's like, they better not say nothing to me. They better not know. They do their thing, I do my thing. And we have that issue where we don't even trust each other anymore. So the community is leaving, and I think we have to do more to invest in our community. That's why I try to do things to bring us together, to keep talking about these things, because we have to come together. That's the only way we're going to do it, because if I don't know you, then of course I don't trust you to talk to my child or to chastise my child, because I don't know who you are and I don't know what your intentions are. So we have to make sure that we're knowing each other and doing what we have to do. But I can assure you, I will chastise your child. There's nothing you can do to stop me. I will do it, and I'll let you know about it. But these young guys, they know me because I'm in the gyms with them. I'm hanging out with them, and I don't go in. You see me how I am now. I'm like this all the time. Mm-hmm. I have on jeans, or I have on some shorts. I have on a T-shirt. These people, they know who I am. So when I'm in the gym, they call me Perk. They said I look like this guy, Kendrick Perkins, that played in the NBA. I'm in the gym with these guys all the time. So because I'm out there, when I see them in the streets, when I see them doing wrong, I can say something to them. And I've done it before. I've walked through the Walmart where one of them actually had a job. Pants hanging down all below his butt, being all crazy. I said, man, pull your dang pants up, man. Mm-hmm. And you know what he did? He pulled his pants up.
He pulled his pants
up. But that's because of the respect factor that I built with these guys and the consistency that I have with these guys. You have to be consistent. You can't just come and go. Mentorship is a lifelong thing. You can't just come and go. You have to be there consistency. So when I'm there consistently with them in these gyms, in these neighborhoods, so when I see them somewhere else and I say something to them, they're like, yeah, I'm rocking with him. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Somebody wanted inside a Clemson hat.
No, it's not a Clemson. This is a forward party. It's called Forward Party.
Okay.
I was the campaign chairman for Andrew Yang And
Okay.
this is his party. He's like an independent now, so I'm wearing his hat.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Well, let me make this statement. I used to volunteer at the Department of Juvenile Justice. And they don't like for you to get attached to those kids, but you couldn't help it because the stories they told. I tried to get my mama's attention. I tried to get my daddy's attention. I tried to get my pastor's attention. All I wanted was somebody to love me. All I wanted was somebody to show me attention. So, of course, I had to stop going because I got all tired up. But, a lot of these kids just need a little bit of love. They just need somebody to say, I believe in you. Man, you can make it. Man, I tell people all the time, Dr. Johnson, I fought my way through high school. And people look at me now, they can't believe it, but I did. I will fight, I drank, I smoked reefer, I did all of that. So I say, show these young people love, because see, I was dealing with problems, but I didn't have nobody until Charles B. Jackson Sr. recognized that they was hurt underneath my pain. He realized that, but everybody else just passed me by. They passed me by.
Yes, these kids, they are traumatized. A lot of these kids, they don't understand what a lot of these kids are going through, and it's a whole new generation of hurt, of pain, things that these kids are going through. That's why, we have to tell these kids that they're worth something, that they, because they've been hearing so much negativity for so long. You got to think, if they're not coming from a good home, like the mama told them you ain't nothing, the daddy told them you ain't nothing, or the daddy ain't there, or the mama ain't there, and nobody's even telling these kids that they can do anything. Like, I'm telling you, if I went to 7 different high schools, I had a 0.8 GPA, I was homeless. You got to think, I could easily be in jail somewhere. I could easily be dead. I could easily be somewhere else. But it wasn't until somebody said, "Listen, you are worth something. You matter. Like you're special. You have potential. It doesn't matter. Like your past does not define your future. There is a place, there is a purpose for you here. In this world. So these young people, we have got to speak life into them. I love to speak life to these young people. I can't stress enough how often I'm talking to these young people, trying to make sure they know that I care about them, that I am them, that I was one of them. I went out, I like to volunteer picking up litter a lot. So I was out on the road picking up trash with, one day with some of the kids that had been, in trouble. And the kids, they were talking about how they never knew any politicians, or they had never seen in one, and how a politician would never be out there picking up trash. They had no idea that I was one, that I was a politician. Had no idea, and I'm out there. I'm like, yeah, for real. And I'm telling these guys, and I'm like, well, I am State Representative Jermaine Johnson, and you can do what I'm doing. You can beat me. See, I'm trying to change that whole narrative. The same thing has been happening where I was wearing one of my shirts, and I was talking to some 18-year-old, 19-year-old kids. And they were like, man, we don't vote because we have never met one of these guys before. They never come to our neighborhood. They never talk to us. I said, man, you ain't met this guy that's on the shirt here? You ain't never met this guy before? They was like, no, we ain't never met this guy, and I guarantee he ain't never coming around here. I said, well, I am him. I am that guy. And they were like, oh my God. Like, and so it's the things that you get to explain to these young people, like, hey, listen, not all of us are alike, and I'm trying to change the narrative so I can show you a better way. I brought the Lower Richmond football team to the State House. Usually only come to the State House if they win the state championship, but I brought them there when they won the regional because I wanted them to see another way. I wanted them to see another young black brother in a position of power that has tattoos on his arm that looks just like them, that so they can see that they can beat me, that they can surpass me, that they have a better path than just drugs or sports. So that I'm trying to give them all the inspiration they can get for as long as I can give it to them.
Okay, Miss McDonald said, you can't have you. Let me see. You can't. You have to let the kids know you are like them. They will open up to you when you have the connection with them. Our kids is really smart. And I agree with that. But we don't have time. The only time, and I know, I've been working in the community with politicians for almost 40 years. But some of them you don't see until election time. And I tell people, don't get excited when they come in your neighborhood with fish fries and grilled chicken. They feed you a piece of fish and a piece of chicken and you vote for them. But what are they doing those other 3 years or those other 2 years? What are they doing to help What are they doing? It is so much going on. And I am really burdened, Dr. Johnson, because I get to see so much and I get to hear so much, but I don't have the power to do it. I'm only one person. I don't have the power to do it. I go to Finley Park and I talk to the homeless people because they're human beings. And you got people out there with PhDs. You got doctors with master's degrees out there. Somebody will say, "Well, if they got all of that, why are they homeless?" This one man that had a PhD lost his mind flipped when he came home, caught his wife with another man in their home. His mind just snapped. So I sit there and I listen to his story, but nobody wants to listen. People are so busy with their families, which is good. They're so busy with their civic organizations, which is good. But what about the people who belong to nobody? What about the people who sit down and listen to them? Who sit down and listen to them?
Yeah. I went to
my heart is just really, it really is.
I went to transitions one day to teach a class on like employability and to help some of the people in there to get some jobs and things. And I was talking to a guy in there who had a master's degree. He was an author, it was like just one check away and missing that one check, just threw him into a spiral and he ended up in a homeless shelter, and it's a lot of people that are like that. But once they get down and they get into that situation, it's very, very hard to get out of it, especially when people start to look at you and they look at you as less than, and they don't want to give you a hand, to help you up. So, we're all very close to that, but it takes people who have that type of experience, and people talk about, we talk about wisdom. Wisdom and age are not synonymous. Wisdom is experiences. Wisdom is just a culmination of experiences. That's why you have young people who you be like, man, you seem very wise for your age because they've been through some things, and then we also know some old fools, so we have to understand that, when you've been through some things, people can help each other out. So these people, we need to get more people to give back, to reach back, to help some of these people to get out of these situations. And people need to stop being so selfish, stop being I got mine, you better get yours.
That's what they say. That's exactly what they say. Yeah. Dr. Johnson, I go to people and I ask people, I say, okay, I'm doing this for the homeless shelter. I'm doing this for transitions. I'm doing this for sister care. I'm doing this for seniors. Can you buy $25 worth of toiletries? You get this nonchalant. I don't need the toiletries. I'm getting them. I put everything I do on Facebook. But one person told me they got to pull themselves up by their own bootstrap. I'm telling you, these are true things that I get. And see, that's why you have some people that rather be homeless, because when you go for help, you get that kind of attitude. Now, granted, you do have scam artists out there. You do have people who are beating the system, but you'll know if they're beating the system or if they really need help.
Yeah.
But what are we going to do? What are we going to do?
Well,
we got people dying in the inside, not just by gun violence, but we got people who are losing hope. We have people that feel like there's nobody that they can turn to. What are we going to do?
Yeah, one thing I have to say, and I had a heart to heart with a lot of the representatives up there at the State House last year, letting them know. I said, I don't know how long I can do this. I don't know how long I can be up here being an elected official, because you cannot be an elected official and care about the people the way that you care about people. You can't. There's no way, because when you sit up there, and every policy that you vote on is either giving somebody life or killing somebody. Where every policy that you're doing, you have to kind of shrug it off and say, oh, this doesn't matter. Let's move on to the next one. Hey, you win some, you lose. It hurts. People are dying, and I'm sitting up there every day, just literally just signing people's lives away, So you have to have a certain level of, it's not that big of a deal to be a long life-serving politician. You have to, and I think we need to get more people in there that actually do care about the people. People that aren't just showing up during election year, people that show up during the off years. The goal to myself when I got elected was I'm going to be the most accessible politician that has ever graced foot in South Carolina. I'm going to be the one. That's why, I give all of my constituents my cell phone number. They don't call my office. They call me. They send a text message to me directly. So you can call me, you can text me, you can reach out to me, and I will call you or I'll text you back. We can have a conversation. One of my constituents reached out to me and said, "Hey, Jermaine, I want to show you something that needs to be fixed on the road." I said, "Well, I'll do you one better. I'll come exercise with you one morning and we'll go walk, we'll go look at it together." Spending time with the people to let them know that you're a real person, that you're not just up there signing bills and doing policy, changing their lives. You actually have to be of the community, in the community, and for these people.
But you'll have some people now. There'll be some negativity from some people tonight, and they'll say, "Oh, he's just saying that because it's election time in November." Let me say this to you that say that. I do my homework. We go to Google for everything else. All you got to do is put these politicians' names in Google, and you'll see what they do. I don't go by no commercials that I hear on the radio. I don't go by commercials that I see on TV. I go to Google and I see what have they done for the community. What are they doing? What kind of bills have they passed? That's what I do. And that's what I encourage people to do, because it's not going to lie. If you do it, it's going to be on there. But see, we get excited over a piece of fish and a piece of chicken, when all we got to do is just do our homework.
I tell people to fact check me. I tell people to Google me. I say, listen, I stand on my record. I stand on my word. I stand behind my word. If I say it, you can say word is bond, because I am a loyal person. And if I can't do it, I can't do it. But I'm going to tell you, I stand on my record. I look me up as much as you want to look me up, and I don't shy away from what I am and who I am. That's why I put my whole history and my whole past out there in the forefront. You don't got to go dig up the dirt on me. I'm gonna tell it to you.
You got like me, then. You got like me. Because I wrote a book about mine. I said, anything you want to know about me, I put the good, the ugly, and the bad in that book.
Ugly. You gonna know about me.
Blackmail me with that. Because sometimes you have to do that, because people try to use what they know against you. So, just go on to Amazon and buy the book and help make me rich. Because it's in the book. It's in the book. But, let me ask you about this. As a young man, when you see our young men getting in trouble, how? I know you can't do everything because you're only one person, but how do you feel when you go to other people and try to get them? It's like, I got to be careful how I say this. It's like everybody want to build their own kingdom. If they can't be the chief, then they don't want to participate. But if they can be the chief and be on TV and be out front and we doing this and we doing that, then they'll participate. But when it's somebody else, they don't want to participate. If you got the children, if you got the young men, if you got the children at heart, then it shouldn't make no difference who's spearheading it. If you really do, if you really do. Ooh, Lord, let me read this. My greatest concern is uplifting and rebuilding for those that appear to be in a better situation. Why and how long will the homeless be overlooked, even if they have to hold some type of responsibility to help themselves? Because the truth of the matter is, nothing in life is free, but it is appropriate more when you work for it. Help the homeless. Very good point, Adrian.
Yeah. We have to. We have to help the homeless. And I don't know the answer to it all, because so many of them are walking around with mental health issues and concerns, and we in South Carolina we don't prioritize mental health concerns here in South Carolina. We don't have enough beds in our mental health facilities to fill all the people that we have mental health concerns about. So because of that, it doesn't matter how many bills and things that I put forward, if we're not going to actually fund and really care about these conditions, these situations we have, then these situations we have are going to continue to persist. I put forth a bill that would have each sheriff's department and police department, they would be responsible for contracting with or having on staff a mental health provider. I also co-sponsored a proviso that would have each school district to have mental health providers on staff to help deal with the children. You know, all the different things. We have to put these things forward. But if we're not going to prioritize, because a lot of these individuals say, oh, it ain't bothering me, or it's not bothering my family, or I don't see that in my neighborhood, so it doesn't matter to them. So a lot of these things, they don't change until they start coming knocking on the door. Case in point is the war on drugs. Nobody cared about crack and all the other stuff until it started coming to the opioids. And then it shows up on Wall Street. Now all of a sudden, oh, man, we got to do something about that. You know, it's those type of situations. They don't want to change anything until it comes knocking on their door.
And, you know, our children are our future. If we do nothing now, sooner or later, and some people may say, you know, oh, don't speak that over my child. But if your children is dealing with other troubled children, sometimes it's going to roll off on those classmates. Let me say this. Well, I don't know. Well, let's say this. They are not doing anything in the 18th ward. The streets are a mess. It's horrible and nasty. Trash everywhere. Weeds up to your waist. What are they doing with the funds? Mental health, substance abuse, homeless. I don't know what Ward 18 is, but don't say it.
Yeah, she's probably in D.C.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, probably in D.C. And I have a friend up there, Reverend Wendy Hamilton. She actually just ran for office up there in D.C. She just lost her election, but she, you know, I was really pulling for her because she really wanted to help the homeless up there, and she was really talking about the future and making D.C. Giving D.C. statehood and all that. You know, it's we have these issues up there in Congress that really have to change. You know, the further you get away from the problem, the more resistant, the more you get like, it doesn't bother me, you know, and that's a big issue because you remember last year or the year before last, when we were dealing with this, when we were in the height of the COVID situation and the government was at a standstill about giving the stimulus checks. They didn't want to agree. They didn't want to agree on the stimulus payments. But I'm thinking to myself, like, these people don't want to agree on the stimulus, but you got the Republican Democrats don't want to agree on the stimulus payments, while people down here in Gaston and Hopkins and Eastover are trying to figure out what they're gonna eat tomorrow. You know, and you're up here fighting with each other. So their power has just gone to their heads up there. And these are some things that we have got to change on Congress to make them more personal. They need to spend more time in these communities rather than sitting up there, you know, in DC fighting against each other about some stuff they're not even in tune with in the first place.
Come on now. She said she was from St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, I know some people in St. Louis. I know some people in Louis. Yeah.
But it is just really it's almost depressing. Yeah. And you know, after this show, you know, tomorrow I got Pastor Willie Mae Jackson because I wanted her to talk about the importance of staying focused. Because let me tell you something. In this world today, we need to know how to stay focused. Because if we don't, with everything that's going on, it's easy to get discouraging. It's easy to say, well, what's the use? So that's why, you know, I had you to come on here to lay out what can be done. And then we're going to go back and we're going to talk about staying positive. But in order to stay positive, sometimes we need some answers.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, we need one man can't do it all. Two people can't do it all. And, you know, I want you to encourage our young people to vote.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I love, so whenever I get to these young people, so I was walking around Bluff Estates, talking to the young people out there, and I was letting them know, I said, hey, man, do y'all realize that if you're in high school, let's say, you know, a lot of our seniors are like 18 years old. If the seniors in high school who are 18 got all the other seniors, they got their entire senior class to pick one of them, their class president, to run for office for county council or something like that, they could literally win. They could win an election and they can have the power and take over. So I let them know that a lot of them, they don't understand how it works. They think it's like the president election. So when the president, you know, you got the way that it works with the election commission and all the other stuff like that. I said, no, these local elections are based on sheer numbers, you know? So if there's 1,000 people that vote, I get 501, you get 499, I win. So I'm letting them know that, hey, listen, you get your senior class to vote for you, man, you're the winner, you know? So they can be in politics if they want to. So that's what I try to let them know. I try to educate them a lot on how these processes work and how the electoral college works, versus these local elections.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, this is really good tonight. It's educational. It gives us a chance to say some things to a politician that is willing to listen and to try to help us, in the midst of what's going on, still encourage us like you did me to vote. Because I'm telling you, I was a politician freak, but I was ready to give it all up. I really was. Let me see what she said. Another great concern, mental health is a controlled illness. I myself deal with mental health, and here in South Carolina is a prescription pad. I know firsthand. I used to hide it until I realized to accept and reveal is the first step to healing. I put on my boxing gloves and I fought. I promise you I'm a better place today because I released it.
Yes. Yeah. We don't prioritize mental health here. We need to do some more stuff. But I can promise you, Ms. Clark, that I am working on it. I can promise you that I am really working on it and trying to get them to understand. I do a lot of things with the mental health community, so I promise you I'm working on it.
Well, she said that she shared hers. Well, you're talking to a lady tonight who suffers with PTSD, and that's me.
Yes,
Due to body trauma, and I have anxiety, but what keeps me going is my faith in God. I do take medication, and I share that with people because medication keeps me balanced. It keeps me balanced, and we have this stigma that if somebody take medication, they're crazy, but they're not crazy. Ain't nothing crazy about me. I'm a very intelligent person. I just had the unfortunate of going through trauma in my body and major surgeries after surgeries, too much anesthesia to my brain, and it just left me with a chemical imbalance. So there's a need for mental health. And then people feel like, well, they're not educated. You don't have nobody to come and educate us on that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't have nobody.
Well, mental health historically in the Black community has always been looked down upon. We always say, what we historically said in the Black community is, we'll just pray it away. That's not a big deal. Go lay down, go take a nap, go have something to eat. You'll feel better later on. Just go pray this thing. And that's one of the things that we have to get past. We have to get past. So, if we believe that God has given us the tools to heal ourselves, then we need to go ahead and use all the tools that God has provided us with. And he was able to bless somebody to get the knowledge to learn how to help us. We need to utilize that tool that God gave us. So these things like that, we need to be reaching out and get rid of the stigma and actually start to get the help and assistance we need.
Yeah. Cheryl Snell said, my daughter voted for the first time on 6/14. She was registered while she was in high school. She registered while she was a high school senior. I actually worked the polls the day of 6/28. I was a proud mother that she got up and came out. I explained to her, if you don't vote, you don't have a voice. There was many fights just for her to have the right to vote. And that's true, and people don't realize that. They don't realize that, and that's just sad. So, talk to parents to encourage their young people the importance of voting in local elections.
Yeah. So, we had early voting for 2 weeks out here, and I was regularly running into parents that had their kids with them when they were going to vote. And everybody that I saw that had their kids, whether they were a supporter of mine or not, I thanked them for bringing their kids to come vote so that they can get their children used to the whole process behind voting, what it is, what it all entails, what is involved with it. And I wanted them to understand that it was very, very important for them to be teaching their young people what it is and what they have to do when they go vote. So, parents need to go ahead and put this in their head now to let them know that, hey, listen, the most important election is not the presidential year election. That's not the most important one. It's these local elections are the most important ones because those are the ones that affect your every single day life. When you don't like something that's going on in the schools, you don't go to the president about that. You go to the school board. When you want a speed bump put on your street, you don't go to the president about that. You go to the county council, the city council. When you want your taxes lowered, you don't go to them. You go to either me, the senator, or one of your county council representatives. Or when you want something going on with the zoning in your district, you go to the planning commission. Or you have to go to these different places that are right around here, that affect your every single day life. A lot of times you can go to one meeting and bring some people. The next meeting, by the time the next meeting come around, they done change the ordinance for you. So these are the people that affect your every single day life. So people need to understand that it's these local elections that are more important than these presidential year elections.
Pastor Michael Taylor said voting is vital and valuable to all victories. I think that's what he said. Valuable. Yep. Yes. And then okay, let's see. And then, yes, we saw that as well at the polls. Parents brought children out.
Yes.
It's one other thing that bothers me. We have Black History Month, but in the schools, they're not really teaching Black history. They're not teaching it. I was very, very disturbed when I talked to, I think it was a 14-year-old. They didn't know who Martin Luther King was. They didn't know who Dr. Martin Luther King was. They didn't know why the Martin Luther King celebration. They didn't know. So I want, I done got the parents. If they're not teaching in school, at least the parents should teach it at home.
Yes, 100%. Because in South Carolina, if you're watching here from South Carolina, it is potentially going to get worse because we have this lady who's running for superintendent here, and she is She believes in that whole critical race theory thing, and it's going to get worse for us in South Carolina if we do not get out and vote in November and make the right decision that we have going on here. But one of the things that I was saying when we were debating this whole critical race theory and things like that at the State House was I told my colleagues up there, I said, well, what are you going to do when your children come home and they're upset because my children told your children the truth about Black history? I said, what are you going to do then? I said, because my children are going to know the truth. My children are going to know Black history. My children are, and they're not going to shy away from it. And I said, I will protect my children at all costs. So when you have a problem, you have to deal with me. So what are you going to do then? And they were silent. So it starts at home. We have to make sure that we have to be lifelong students of education ourselves in order for us to educate our children on the proper history, because they're going to continue to try to lie to you in these schools. When the lesson plans change with whatever the direction is of the political climate. If the political climate is red, then the election is going to, then the education is going to change to the red side. If it's blue, it's going to change to the blue side. It's up to us to properly educate our young people with the truth that's out there about our people.
And this is so good tonight because we don't do it. We give our kids cell phones, and most of them got a bigger flat screen in their room than I got because they play them games. Well, why not tell them, okay, you can get it, but I want you to learn about our history. Do you not know it took George Floyd's death for a lot of people to know about a lot of things that happened in African American history?
Yeah, I agree.
And that's when a lot of the other side children found out about things that we had to go through. But if they're not going to learn it in school, then teach them at home. Teach them at home who it is.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think Juneteenth just now became, got popular. But how long has Juneteenth been around? But now all of a sudden it's cool to know what Juneteenth is, and it's those type of situations. But I walk around here singing the national Black anthem. I want my kids gonna know that. So it's things like that I want my children to know, because I know the schools are not going to prioritize that type of education. For my children. So I make sure that I'm the one who's teaching them these things and I'm showing them these things. I mean, if you look at my wall back there, you see, I was one of the 12 Black leaders to know in South Carolina. I want my kids to know that, hey, listen, even your dad is a part of history now, man. So you can understand that this is what we have going on. This is what our legacy is. This is who we are. This is how we're going to move forward. And I want you to know how we got to where we are.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather, who passed away a couple years ago, was actually the last living Buffalo soldier in America. So, it's those things I want my kids to be proud of their history.
Miss McDonald said, yes, they removed Black history before I retired from school. Even the teacher that we are teaching that subject.
Yeah.
Let me see. Do you understand what she's trying to say?
Yeah. They're
Okay.
talking about they moved Black history, before you retired, they even removed the teacher. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we got, it's just so much that need to be done. And like I said, one politician can't do it all. But you know who can do it? We can. There's power in voting.
Yes.
There is power in vote. And if we got to start locally, we got to start holding everybody accountable locally. And then if they don't listen, then we let our vote talk.
Yes.
We let our vote talk.
Yes. We have to stop letting politicians skate by every 2 years, every 4 years, just because we know their name. We have got to stop doing that. We haven't seen people in 2, 3, 4 years, and all of a sudden they show up and give you a piece of fish, and you're like, oh yeah, that's my man right there. That's my woman. That's my girl right there. You ain't seen them in years. And it's like, they just show back up. We cannot do that. We can no longer sit back and let these people. I don't care if you know them. I don't care if you went to school with them. If they ain't doing nothing, then we got to get them out. They can still be your friend or your sister, your brother. But we got to get them out. We've got to have some people with energy in there that are going to be in that community and can be working for these people, because people, they need some hope. I mean, we're living in despair right now, and people need some hope. They need inspiration. They need somebody to say, "Hey, listen, it's going to be all right," and to actually put actions behind these words.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think we'll ever have another leader like Dr. King?
No.
He was willing to sacrifice for us.
Yeah.
Will we ever find anybody else like that?
I personally don't. I was literally. It's funny that you asked me, because I was thinking about this today. I was on Twitter, and I was reading the post because Tariq Nasheed, he's one of those big freedmen ADOS people. He was on Twitter, and he was talking bad about Roland Martin. About what Roland Martin was wearing and his clothes. And like I said, I was looking at this today, and I was like, man, I said, Martin Luther King had all these Black people like unified around a common goal, around a common agenda. And this man over here is shaming another Black man because of the clothes that he has on. And this Black man is going back at this other Black man. And these are two Black leaders that we're looking to for our media, our news sources, and for, which direction to go in supporting whatever. And I'm thinking about that to myself, like, man, that just shows you how special Dr. King was, to be able to get people unified on a common agenda, and to walk for 366 days to say, you know what, I'm going to wear the soles out my shoes before I get on this bus, because I believe in the common agenda that we all have here. And until we get out of our selfless ways, we're so selfish. And until we get out of our selfish ways, we won't be able to unite around anything, because it has to take somebody who was very selfless to say, you know what, I know we have this issue over here, but Dr. King said we're going to get to the promised land, and he believes this is the way we're going to get it, and this is how we're going to do it. Even though I think this is an issue here, but Dr. King says we're going to do it this way, so let's fall in, let's do it this way. We don't have people like that. Everybody feels like their voice is the most important. Too many chiefs, not enough Indians. Nobody's willing to follow. Everybody comes out and they want to be the leader. Starting out, they want to skip 10,000 steps and just be the leader. We need to stop that stuff.
I dare not call names because I don't believe in this, but I had this grandmother that needed help for her son that was the mother died. And so she's having to raise the son, and she needed help. He was in the gifted class, and his grades started dropping. And I called one of the school board members. I ain't got no help yet. And it's been over a year. And then I'm glad there was about 15 standing there, so nobody will know who I'm talking about. And then I saw him on TV in front of camera talking about this and that. And I know I call you over and over again. This young boy needs some help. His mama just died. He needs some help. He was in a charter, is it charter school where they're real smart? That's where he was. I couldn't get no help. But then they are all over social media. I don't like that. And see, if I have to be careful how I do things. So I would never make anybody shame or call anybody name. But I hope somebody will share this with the whole school board. And then he would know who they're talking about, because I tried. But thank God I got a local pastor that was able to help him, took him on his wings and has helped him. But I was so discouraged. I would never vote for this person again, ever.
Yeah.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. I've heard about situations like this. And people don't understand when you get to this level of because y'all have put us in this position and you get to this level, things you can make or break somebody's future or hope, just with the sound of your voice, and some people, when they come to ask you, if you tell them no, it's like a lot of times we're the last resort or the last page. It's like, came to us and we say, we say, oh, I'll get back with you, or we don't answer at all. It's like, man, this guy here or this girl here, it's very discouraging. So, I felt that same when I was just getting started, and I couldn't get nobody to answer a phone call. I couldn't get nobody to respond to an email. I was just like, man, this is unbelievable. I can't get nobody to talk to me at all. Like it was eye opening to me, and it was everything that I did not want to be if I was to ever to get to that level. I said, man, I do not want to be like that. That's why I try so hard to be accessible to people, because I said, man, I remember being in that position, trying to talk to somebody, reaching out, screaming for help and not getting it.
And I want to thank you. I mean, this hours went by real fast, but anytime, let me say, my platform is always open to you, because I believe in you and I believe what you're trying to do. And any help that you need me to do, I'll do it. Ain't gonna have to tag no dollar to it, because I believe in you. I believe in you. And you're going to make it. You're going to be bigger than what you are now. But when you get big, not if, but when you get big, please don't forget about the little people. Please don't forget about the people who have nothing to offer you back. Don't do that. And that's what we do. We get in these positions and we get these titles and we forget about everyday people. And God is not pleased with that. We're good enough to vote for you, but we are not good enough for you to return a phone call or to have your secretary or to have your teenage daughter, anybody, text or anything. Just make sure to keep in touch some kind of way. Now, I'm not so naive that I know that I don't know that y'all are busy. I do have that much sense, and you can't reach everybody. But you would be surprised at the stories, and I end up trying to take up for the leaders that they're talking about, because I don't want to put a bad name on them, and I'm not going to put a bad name on them. But I try to say, well, just tell me what the problem is, and I'll get to them. Because one way or another, I'm going to call until they call me back. Yeah. I'm calling until they call me back. But, it's people, everybody. I had one lady, her husband died. She didn't know how to get his Social Security. She got about to get put out of his house, out of her house. I called and I couldn't get no answer. So you know who had to help me? Somebody that we talk about all the time, Joe Wilson, got the job done. Congressman Joe Wilson. Yeah. You might well give credit to who I called and I called and I called and I couldn't get no answer. Do you not know that she had her money in less than 30 days?
Yeah. So, sometimes I'm ashamed to say it, but sometimes the other side, man, I tell you, I tell you, when I was my daughter was born. My daughter's 7 months old, and when she was born, you know who called me in the hospital? crazy Ralph Norman.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy Congressman Ralph Norman called me in the hospital to congratulate me, congratulate my family, and send us some stuff from Washington. You know, I was like, oh my goodness. So I mean, listen, I get it. I know.
And yeah, let me tell you something else. And this is just a testimony for somebody. Now, I got to be careful because I don't want Facebook to take me down. But Senator Lindsey Graham is not one of my favorites. But you know, he sent me a note congratulating me for what I do in the community. How that man know? I ain't gonna vote for him, but that's what he did. I'm just saying that is what he did.
Yeah.
I also got one from Congressman Joe Wilson about the work. I didn't submit it. I don't know who submitted it. You understand what I'm saying? And I was blown away.
Yeah. I get it. Tim Scott's people, they regularly check in with me to see if I need anything.
Well, you tell him that I need something because I want to help these homeless people.
I can send you his personal assistant's contact information, so we'll talk about that offline. I can send it to you.
And it wouldn't. I don't have to be out front. I can say Dr. Jermaine Johnson presents, and I can put one of the big, because it's not enough to go out there and feed them homeless. Sit down and talk to them, leave some tracts for them, get them some Bibles, get them some material, get them some self-love material and stuff. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Just don't go out there and feed them, but they need some help. Listen, I done been so down, I didn't know how to get up. It's by the grace of God that I'm here talking to you today, but somebody believed in me.
Amen.
And they helped me because I was like that prodigal son. I was in the hog pen of life, but then God sent Charles Jackson my way to help me. Amen. Do you hear me?
Amen.
So all of us stay in room for improvement and that can help one another, but you can close in your own way.
Well, first thing is, let me just thank you so much for having me on here this evening. You know, this was not one of those regular talks that I usually have on there. I feel so good to be able to have this connection with you, and just to let the people, you know my truth and know my history, know my purpose and my path and everything. And you know, I'm always available. I'm an open book. I've got an open door policy. I invite everybody to the State House. I tell people, send me your kids. Bring them up to the State House so I can show them around and show them who I am and show them what we do up there. You know, I just want to thank everybody out here just for listening to just a small snippet of my life and who I am, and just listening to have this conversation. You know, we need everybody that's on this call right here to not just talk about it online, but to get out there in your community, because we need you active. You know, we need you active. Love is an action word. And if you truly love the people who are in your community, you will get out there and you will do something about it. You know, so we have to make sure that we are giving back to our communities. We have to make sure that we're not staying silent. If you say something, if you see something, say something. You know, we've got to be involved with things that are going on, because we're losing too many of our young people every single day. So we've got to give back. We've got to do our part, and it's going to take all of us.
Let me read this last thing and then we'll let you go. And then I don't want y'all to leave because I got a giveaway I need to give away. But when he finished, he can go. But I need to give away something tonight. Adrian said, what are the steps through the city of Columbia to feed and give toiletries and so forth to the homeless in the city parks?
Yeah, I would reach out to the city administrator or your city council member. But from what I'm hearing is actually they're changing some of the ordinances for friendly parking, all that, saying that you can't feed them anymore. You can't feed homeless people anymore. So I don't know what method they're going, because you know we have that new mayor now. So they're changing so many different things in the city of Columbia since Mayor Benjamin has left. So that's going to be something you're probably going to have to reach out to the city administrator to see if the ordinance has changed or not. Or not if they're changing, but when they're taking effect, if they hadn't already taken effect.
Well, let me say this. He ain't doing absolutely nothing. And I'm going to say this. And I've told him that. So here's nothing that nobody can go back. He made all these promises when he was running, and he is doing everything you see is in the Vista, in 5 Points, down Garner's Ferry Road and stuff like that. But that's who they voted for. That's who they put in there. That's who they put in there. So, you get what you put in office. If you don't vote, then you don't have a right to say anything. But let me tell you something. We got to do better. It shouldn't be no question 4 years from now. Shouldn't be none. Shouldn't be any. You can't even go feed the homeless.
Yeah.
Well, State Representative Dr. Jermaine Johnson, again, we say thank you, and you are always welcome to come on this platform. Always welcome. Whatever you need, just let us know, and we'll bring you on. And keep doing what you're doing. Keep being that community leader that people can look up to. Keep doing what you're doing. I believe in you and so many other people. And those of you who are on here, make sure to tell somebody in the Lower Richland, the Eastover, Hopkins, Garner Ferry Road, where else? Gaston, make sure and tell them to stick with this brother right here. And I'm so glad you won in June. I could have shouted and did that dance off from here. Yes, I could have. That made me so happy. It made me happy. You don't say anything because we don't want you to get in no trouble. But I was so happy. Because I'll never forget something she did that I didn't like. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I ain't gonna go there.
Yes, ma'am.
Neither here nor there. But she, you don't mess with those that I love now. Don't mess with those that I love. But anyway, thank you so very much for coming on, and I appreciate you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, and God bless all of y'all.
All right, you can sign off. I'm gonna do a giveaway. Okay.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. That was State Representative Jermaine Johnson, Dr. Jermaine Johnson. I tell you, such a blessed man of God. Many of you know that our show is sponsored by Dunkin' Donuts. They are one of our primary sponsors for this show. So what we're going to do tonight, we're going to give away this to somebody. Still got a tag on it. It's compliments of Dunkin' Donuts. See? It's never been used. You can see that. Have the tag on it. But this is what I want you to do. Now, do not win if you're not going to send me your address. Because, see, I've had people to win, and they won't send the address. And then we're going to put this selfie with it, this selfie stick. Compliments of insurance agent Terry Wright. Who's selling insurance. So if you need insurance, hit me up and I'll give you this information. So you're going to get this selfie stick and you're going to get this cup, compliments of Dunkin' Donuts. Now, I'm going to make it very easy for you. I'm going to make it very easy for somebody. The first person I see on this end, now this is the question. The first answer I see on this end, you are the winner. But when you win, you need to inbox me your name and your address. Your name and your address. Please, y'all, don't let these gifts go to waste. Because if you don't do it, tomorrow night, I'm going to give away the same thing. This selfie stick where you can it's 42 inches and it goes up, and you could put it over people's heads when you're at church or programs and stuff like that. And you can record with our people. And then this beautiful cup by Dunkin' Donuts, we'll give that to you as well. Now, here's the answer. Here it is. Thank you so very much. I appreciate that. Only thing you got to do is just the first person I see now, the first person I see, let me hide this, can tell me the guest full name that we had on tonight. The guest full name that we had on tonight, and you will be the winner of those two prizes. The guest that we had on tonight. The full name. Should I give it to him? I'm gonna give it to you, Miss Virginia. But I said the full name, which Dina Brown is Dr. Jermaine Johnson. But I'm gonna give it, since Miss Virginia, I'm gonna give it to her. So Miss Virginia, you won the selfie stick and the cup, compliments of Dunkin' Donuts. Okay. And I'm gonna put you 2 gift cards so you can get you some coffee, compliments of Dunkin' Donuts. We'll do it all over again tomorrow night. We have Pastor Willie Mae Jackson. Listen, we're going to have a discussion. This is a powerful woman of God, and she's going to tell us how to keep it real, how to stay focused on what really matters. Let me tell you something. This tomorrow night is going to be some kind of interview. So we encourage you to tune in tomorrow night. It's going to be great. Thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you, and may God richly bless you. And do join us on tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.